All right, good afternoon, everybody. Well, a happy Friday. Another 2 games. This is October Magic, the MLB Playoffs, presented by Ace Hardware Home Services. Ace, the helpful place. Now, helpful at home. You got spots going on. You need work done at your house. Well, Ace is the place. All right, AceHardwareHomeServices.com for all of the jobs in your home. I'm a customer, all right, when it comes to heating and air conditioning. All right, let's get to it. We had one thrilling game, one incredible game last night between the Yankees and Guardians. And, wow, man, just the high-level drama that happened last night. Guardians win. We'll go through it in just a moment, all the details, which were pretty cool. And that series now 2-1. Dodgers take care of the Mets last night. They can close out tonight. They can close this thing out 5:08. Dodgers just show their dominance in the lineup. So we'll take a look at that as well. Joining us, our MLB insider, the great analyst. I'll tell you, nobody knows hitting and that sport like the 15-year veteran David Segui. Segui, wow, man, what incredible stuff last night in Cleveland. Let's go back and rewind it, right? 3-1. Guardians, they got Clase, their incredible closer, who gave up a big home run against the Tigers. He gives up another one. In fact, 2. Judge hits a 2-run homer to tie, and Stanton goes yard to make it 4-3. Yankees tack on one to make it 5-3, and then all the drama. So it was incredible. Just your overall thoughts.
Yeah, it was definitely a must-win for the Indians. They got to win that ball game. Looked great. It was looking good. Had all the momentum. The Yankees didn't look like they had much fight left in them. And then all of a sudden, here they come. Boom, big, home run, back-to-back home runs just to put everybody in shock. The whole place went silent. When they tack on that extra run, you almost feel like they got up a couple runs. You almost felt like it was over. Like, wow, this is the way this is where they're going out. And then
big Christmas.
First couple of times I almost turned the TV off and went and started doing some stuff around the house. And I was like, yeah, I'll just keep watching. And you think you'd know better by now. Game of baseball is so unpredictable. Boom, boom, boom. Some magic happens, and there you have it. You had a great win. Hopefully, it turns the tide in this series, and and turns out to be a better, more competitive series. It doesn't matter who wins, but at least like to see an exciting series go back and forth. So,
well, I mean that moment, especially with the ninth starter, right? So you get the leadoff runner on, then the double play, right? So you're going, oh, well, that's it, right? Takes any steam out of you. Then you get a knock by Thomas, and then big Christmas, right? That kid has got massive power. And that moment, and the place goes wild. You played in Cleveland, and you played during a fun run. What's that town like?
It's those fans go bananas. It's kind of like a college football game Saturday. Energy in the stadium. They live and die by the Indians. They just love the Indians. They're full of energy. I tell you, when we lose and when we lost and didn't do well, man, they really took it to heart. When we won, man, it made their day. So they're a very supportive fan base. It's exciting to see that energy back in a couple of years there. It got a little quiet, but they're back, and they're back in this series. So, Noel, he reminds me of just a smaller version of Glenn Ellen Hill. He's that kind of stock, like that crazy, there's that crazy natural strength that, if that barrel connects, I mean, that ball could could go a long, long way. So
And that
that
was
was
no doubt about it. I mean, my God, that was a massive shot.
yeah, that was a bomb. I mean, both of those home runs, all those home, those guys are hitting 15 rows up in the left field, left center. That's a long way up there. That's a high fence. This guy's got 18. I think it's 18-foot wall. So hitting it up in that area, the bleachers is that's pretty impressive.
So, and it was first of all, what happened to the Indians bullpen? The best bullpen in the regular season, and Clase was unhittable. What have you seen that he's been tagged twice now in the postseason?
Well, I mean, when you're running them out there, like they're doing right now, you're using a lot of pitchers every day, and like I said before, you're expecting 6, 7, 8 guys to have their best stuff that day, because in the playoffs you can't afford to have one bad inning, give up a too big of a crooked number, and that could cost you the ball game. So it's enough. Obviously, there's a pressure factor. Clase, I mean, his stuff is dominating. We saw that all year. But in this type of environment, I think he's just overthrowing the ball a little bit. He's a power guy to begin with. You start overthrowing your secondary pitches, especially those sliders, you're going to throw through the break. It's going to spin and leave over the middle. Your fastball is going to flatten out. If anything, I would probably tell him just to step back and go a little less. His less is still 98, 97.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not like he's throwing 82. I take a little off. I remember Matt. I think it was Maddox when he said when he got in a jam, he stepped off and told himself to go slower. Everything take because as a hitter we get excited too. We want to do damage. So a pitcher can use our aggressiveness against us. So that to me, it's just Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was interesting because, and then you look at Fry, like this is part of the magic, right? Like they tie
Yeah.
it miraculously, and then Fry goes yard to win it. Can this propel? What does this do for Cleveland? Having a win like this for the rest of the series.
Well, it gives them that life. I mean, it's a new life. They're back in this series. They lose that game, it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
It gives them that belief that they can come back, that they can compete against this team. Because when you start getting beat up consistently like that, you start to wonder, right? We can beat these guys, right? We can do it, right? And we're this far, and we've come this far throughout the course of the season. This is not the time to, to go flat. So to see them come back and win that game, especially in the front of the home crowd, it's going to be a zoo again today. If they can win today, man, it changes the whole complexion. The whole complexion changes. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out today.
So today it's going to be the Yankees' young starter Luis Gil, against Gavin Williams for Cleveland. How do you approach Gil? He's got good stuff.
Yeah, it's making them throw strikes. Make these guys establish the strike zone before we start, going on the defensive. I'm a big believer in. I don't care how many pitches the guy warms up. He can warm up with 5 pitches, but if he's only commanding 1 and 2 pitches, he's a 1 and 2 pitch pitcher. He's not. Those other pitches don't factor in. It's what he's thrown for a strike. What can he throw in the strike zone is the only thing that the only variable I'm trying to control as a hitter, and that varies from day to day. Some days that guy has a command of 4 pitches. That's going to be a difficult task at the dish. Some days that guy only has 1 pitch, and that's when you have to feast, and you have to knock those guys out. But at this time of the year, though, I mean, how many at bats are you going to get against these guys? It's going to, for both teams, it's going to come down to whose bullpen comes in and executes. Who's gonna play fundamental baseball, catch it, move runners. If we got a guy on second with nobody out, we got to score that run. And once again, 1 run at the end of the day turns out to be the factor. Let's go back to the first 4 and 5 innings. How many opportunities do we have to squeak out just one run as opposed to chasing the 5 and 6 run rally and getting nothing? You got to chip away, chip away, and especially get a lead. Huge for the Indians to establish an early lead.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to be tough tonight because now you got Gavin Williams. So you've used a lot of pitching, and Williams has got to be able to give you a little bit of length.
Yeah, I worry about how long the Indians can sustain this approach of using everybody every day. Like, when it works, it looks cute, but it's hard to, if you're a traditionalist, and I don't mind, bullpen games here and there. I don't mind that when necessary, but I think it just gets overplayed, in my opinion. That's just my humble opinion. I just think it gets overplayed, especially this time of the year. Like the Dodgers should never have to do a bullpen game. I'm sorry. If I was one of their second, third, fourth, fifth starting pitcher the course of the year, I'd be pissed off. To be honest, I'd be pissed off that now all of a sudden I'm not good enough to go out and compete for you. You're going to rely on, 7 guys out of the bullpens. 4 of them have very little experience. I just don't understand that approach. But people's a lot smarter than me have figured out these strategies, and there is something to, as a hitter, when you start seeing a different pitcher, every at bat, it is difficult. But I'd like to see a starter at least go through the lineup at least twice, if not 3 times. If he's effective, I leave him in, gets into a jam, or you can see he's losing his stuff, and then we start playing the bullpen game, and then it's only a 3 or 4 inning period where we're having to do all these matchups instead of doing it in the second inning. To me, that's insane. It's a recipe for disaster, if you're asking me. But I'll just watch.
Well, I love your analysis. All right, so I love it. I think it's spot on. In the other game, the other series, this is a series about the Dodgers and how the Dodgers just completely flex, right? They've gotten 30 walks in 3 games.
That game, I'll tell you, I turned off multiple times. I turned the channel. I could not. It is very difficult for me to watch Shohei Ohtani getting pitched around with nobody on base, and they're not even competitive pitches. You might as well just walk him, tell him to go to first, or hit him, and put him on first, than to bounce 3 and 4, 2 feet in front of the plate. But and it doesn't make any sense to me. If he hits a home run, that's 1 run. You're starting a rally, and Mookie Betts is no slouch hitting behind him, and he feasted yesterday. You walk Ohtani thinking you're pitching around him to set up what? To set up a 3 and 4 run innings, what you set up. I'm not doing them any favors. He hit 50 home runs or 50. That means 550 times he didn't. Right? As a competitor, I'm going to try to get him out, and I've seen pitchers getting him out. I've seen guys getting him out. If you execute your pitch, you have a chance to get him out. But in a lot of these situations, if he hit a solo home run, who cares? It's a single run. It doesn't make any sense to me to start a rally for these guys, because once these guys get momentum, once they get a little swagger going, it's hard to slow them down. And then it looked like all the air got sucked out of the stadium, and the Mets players look like they're defeated as well. That game was just. I mean, that was hard to watch. I mean, I was in agreement.
30 walks, and again, no Freeman, and they're doing all kinds of damage. Betts was ridiculous, but again, like when you crowd the bases like that, when 30 walks in 3 games is unheard of.
As a position player, you want to scream when you're on the field and you're just watching that. Walks. Like we would rather be chasing the ball all over the field than to watch our pitchers walking guys. And it's not just walks, it's getting behind in counts, getting in those cripple counts, those 2-0, 3-1s. where you have to come into the zone, and then these guys are going to barrel that ball. They're going to hit it hard when you consistently get in those situations, in those counts. But my gosh, I think a pitching coach and a manager, I wouldn't have been able to sleep last night. 30. I mean, come on, like that's ridiculous. You're in the big leagues, dude. Like seriously.
Yes.
Oh, like,
How do you look at today, which is, it's 3-1 now, and the Dodgers throw Flaherty, all right, against Peterson. I mean, the Dodgers, and it's a shame because, listen, they have been decimated, their rotation, right? Their best pitcher is Glass now, who has been unable to pitch in the postseason. They get Flaherty at the deadline, who's really good. The Mets got to go back to Peterson. How do you kind of size up the matchup tonight?
well, clearly it's favors the Dodgers. The Mets are going to have to hit his slider. He's been commanding his slider. He has a good fastball, but he is not afraid to throw slider. And if they're not going to hit it, he's going to keep throwing it. So they're going to have to make an adjustment in their approach and take that slider for a strike away. Watching Alonso, he's swinging a lot. He's very in between pitches right now, and he's swinging a lot of sliders off the dish. Like to see him get himself back into a good hitting position, and where he can he's not recognizing the pitch in rotation, so he's swinging out of the hand is what we call it. He's swinging as soon as he sees the hand, he's committing, and he's the sliders getting him off the plate. He's getting himself into really bad counts really early with pitches that weren't even good quality. We're not even quality pitches, and they're going to continue to waste pitches like that on him as long as he keeps chasing them, and he'll be in bad counts as long as he keeps chasing them. But
you just to follow up on that, because you've always talked about this, which is when you're in the middle of pitches like he is, like Alonso is, do you try to just focus on one part of the plate and just kind of this way, if you're narrowing down what you're looking at?
It's a bad feeling when you get caught between pitches. To me, you have to take the analytics and data you have in front of you. Where is he throwing strikes? What part of the plate is he throwing strikes to? Right, and you have to look at comparative hitters. A hitter in comparable to him in his style, because they'll change depending on the style of hitter. Traditionally, so where is he able to throw strikes? Where does he want to go when he's behind an account? What's he going to go to? What's his security blanket when he's 2-0, 3-1 when he's got to throw a strike? And you sit on that part of the plate. If I was him, you can tell he's starting to look slider, but then as soon as he sees slider, he commits, and he's figuring out it's got to be a slider first. It's going to end up in the strike zone, which means it's got to start middle in to him, righty, for it to stay in the zone. He's swinging at the ones that are starting on the outside half that break off the plate. So I always sat off speed and just reacted to the fastball. But I also was a switch hitter, so the ball was moving into me. But you look at a Vientos, you can tell he makes adjustments. He'll try to shoot it to right center, which is his strength. And then you see the pitchers are making adjustments, and they're trying to come hard in on him too. And it's a matter of, does he lay off of that, or does he chase that two-seamer that runs in on his thumbs and fist himself, or does he lay off of it and get in a better count and keep his focus out across the plate where he can get his arms extended. So it's all about plate discipline and pitch recognition. The quicker you can recognize out of the hand, and it's every hitter's gotten in between. Every hitter's gotten in that place mentally, and it's a horrible place to be, and surely don't want to be there at this time of the year. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. I mean, you look at him, and I just don't know. It always comes down to, can they get that Dodger lineup? Can they quiet that Dodger lineup? Because otherwise, they can't go toe-to-toe with that team. That team is just so powerful. They got to figure out something to get some sort of pitching.
Right. They got to get an early lead, make the Dodgers chase them. Once they get ahead, they get super relaxed and aggressive and because they're not worried about making a mistake. And when you play with that, in that mentality, with that, you're on the offensive, right? I'm seeing too many teams. The Mets look defensive when they're at the plate, as it being on the offensive side of it. And I had this great conversation with Danielle Martin, with Danielle, mindset coach, really good, and she has a lot of big league clients and does a really good job. We've had a couple of really good conversations in the last couple of days about these, the mental side of the game, especially when you get in these types of high pressure situations. And she has some really amazing insight on the psychological, mental side of it, right? Because and this is what she excels at is teaching these big league guys um, a better way of kind of channeling that anxiety and energy and using it as a fuel as opposed to something that's a weight on their back. She's amazing, man. You have to get her on the show one of these days.
Yeah, I got to definitely do that.
She's
I
good.
mean, because it's baseball. It's so important. You know better than anybody who played so long that the mental game can just eat you up.
It can either build you up or destroy you. You look
Yeah.
at a guy, and you look at a guy like a Dustin Pedroia, right? Like if you saw him walking down the street, you would never guess that he's a professional athlete. But that dude had a belief in himself that he could do anything on the baseball field that anybody else could, whether they're a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier. He could do everything they did. So that belief, he never lost that belief in himself. And then you see some gifted physical specimens that when they taste failure, it defeats them. It it makes them cower and shrink, and they can't do anything with all that physical God given talent. So what she's really good at is getting these guys to believe in themselves and then understand that you're going to have so much failure in the game that how do you process that, accept it, you accept it, and you move forward knowing that you're going to have another opportunity to prove yourself and to help your team. And that's the beauty actually of baseball versus I think football. You have a bad game, you're an Aaron Rodgers and have that bad game after game like that, and you have to wait. You got to wait 6 more days to
Yeah.
to go out and prove yourself. That would drive me crazy. Baseball, you wait 12 hours, you're back out there, and you get a knock. Even if you went 0 for 4 yesterday with 4 punchies, you get a couple knocks. Everybody's cheering, loves you again, But you can't. A big part of that too is you can't. All that true affirmation. It's artificial, right? We all know as athletes, some guys get caught up in believing the hype. It's not real. It's a game. It's entertainment. And when you're done playing, nobody cares what you're doing anymore. So that's just the reality of life. So you can't let it destroy you when somebody boos you or tells you suck, and it can't artificially build your ego up to rethinking you can walk on water because you got 2 hits today, because tomorrow you might go 0 for 4 again, and how are you going to handle it?
Right.
It's that balance, learning how to walk that tightrope, that emotional tightrope throughout the 162 games and then some extras. It's a pressure situation every day.
Nah, it's brilliant. I love it. I'm fascinated by that whole realm. So thanks for Danielle on that. That's really interesting. All right. So ultimately, how do you see? You like Dodgers tonight, and you're thinking. I mean, that Yankees Cleveland game. That'll be fun to watch. That's the second half of the doubleheader.
Yeah, the Yankees. I keep saying Indians. I cannot get over say Guardian, but yeah, that game's going to be really exciting. The Dodger game and the Mets. The Mets just have to come out, and they have to come out early and impose their will on the Dodgers and get them down, get on top of them, and make them chase.
Yeah.
Um, there's no. It's got to be for 9 innings. It can't be for glide. Just give away two, 3 innings at a time, and then all of a sudden you're gonna go in spurts. It doesn't. It may have worked. It may have worked in the past, but it's not going to work against the Dodger team. They have too many. They have an arsenal of too many arms out of the pen. They got power arms out of the pen. They have the experience. Um, all over the field, position wise. They're not gonna let you. They're not gonna let you just come in, and they're not gonna make mistakes and they're not gonna walk 30 guys. I'll tell you that. They're not gonna walk 30 guys and give you opportunities to beat them. You're going to have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. They're just not.
Here you got it. It's going to be fun. Another big night of October Magic, the MLB playoffs. Thanks to our great analyst, David Segui, who's played on 2 of the 4 teams, among many. So enjoy it, my brother. Enjoy the night. I'm sure I'll be hitting you up.
I got to get to my water aerobics class here. I'm going to miss it.
Go do it, buddy. Thanks, pal. We appreciate it. David Segui checking in, our MLB analyst. This is, again, October Magic, the MLB Playoff Special, that presented by Ace Hardware Home Services. Ace, the helpful place, now helpful at home. You got to check out acehardwarehomeservices.com for any of the odd jobs. Enjoy the games, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.